Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to all of you. Today, we're going to teach on topic 7. Topic 5 and 6, we're going to keep it first. We move to topic 7 on accommodating employees in the workplace. Bagaimana kita nak menempatkan para pekerja kita di tempat kerja. Alright, an overview on the accommodating employees in the workplace. A workplace accommodation can be defined as any change in the working environment that allows a person with a disability or limitation to properly carry out their job duties is considered a workplace accommodation. Alright, bila kita sebut tentang workplace accommodation, bermaksud bagaimana kita nak meletakkan para pekerja kita yang kurang upaya merasa selesa di tempat kerja. That one we call the term as a workplace accommodation. Alright, we're talking about we allow a person with disability or limitation to properly carry out their jobs and also duties, and you call it as a workplace accommodation. Alright, what is a workplace accommodation? This includes changes to physical workspace, adaptation to the equipment or tools used, change in work hours, or job sharing. When we're talking about the person with disability, it's going to be very difficult to him or her to do job properly. So there is a way to make sure that they are comfortable in the workplace. By what method? But what by how? By which means we're going to put them kita kata to put them comfortable in the workplace. By what? By physical, we change some physical workspace, we adaptation to the equipment, also the tools, and we're going to change the work hours so that they are feel comfortable at the workplace. Alright, what is a reasonable accommodation? A reasonable accommodation is assistance or changes to a position or workplace that will enable an employee to do his or her job despite having a disability. Under the ADA, employers are required. ADA is one of the terms that the regulation use, which is employers are required to provide reasonable accommodation to qualified employees with disability, unless doing so would pose an undue hardship. By doing that, they are feel easy to perform a job. There's a following types of accommodation are defined as reasonable. Number 1, no-tech. No-tech is an accommodation penempatan which is cost little or no money. It just involves time, support, and creativity. For example, additional preparation time for an individual or a color-coded filing system, in which it's not involve technology at all, and it just involve cost a little or no money. Number 2 is low tech. Low tech means that any accommodation that is technologically simple or unsophisticated and readily available in most office. For example, we are replacing a doorknob with an accessible door handle, providing a magnifiers. For example, probably there is a person who are difficult to read the books because of the eye. They have some problem in their eye. So we are providing a magnifier, kanta pembesar untuk membolehkan mereka membaca. It means that low tech means that simple technology which is not sophisticated and it is readily available in the office. Number 3 is high tech. High tech means any accommodation that uses advances or sophisticated devices. For example, screen reading software with synthesized speech. Alright, you have to bear in mind, accommodation means any change in the working environment that allowed a person with a disability or limitation to properly carry out their job duties. Alright, so we're talking about the types of accommodation. There is number 1, no tech. Number 2 is low tech. Number 3 is high tech. Okay. What is the example of possible accommodation? There is a few things that the employer can do to make sure that the person with disability can properly doing their job. There is a few things. There is an example of possible accommodation. Number 1 is job restructuring. Means that kita mengstruktur semula kerja tersebut. We are job structuring. Job structuring, restructuring as a form of a reasonable accommodation may involve reallocating or redistributing the marginal function of a job. Job restructuring frequently is accomplished by exchanging marginal function of a job that cannot be performed by a person with disability for marginal job function performed by one or more other employees. It means that one particular person do not perform their job, so we change it to the one who are with disability with some job which is better to him. An example, an agency has 2 data processing club. Typing on the computer is an essential function. Using the phone is a marginal one. If a qualified data processing clerk has speech impairment, tak boleh nak bercakap dengan baik, mungkin dia ada masalah kerana satu penyakit, maka dia susah nak bercakap. We call it speech impairment. It would be reasonable to assign the function of using the phone to the employee with speech impairment in exchange for doing that employee's filing. So we might probably change it to the particular person who are able to talk very well. To the person who cannot talk very well, we ask them to do some filing. So it means that job restructuring. Alright. Okay, the agency is not required to reallocate essential job function. It may be a reasonable accommodation to change when or how the essential function are done. Okay, these are the example which you can read what is mean job restructuring. Okay, number 2 is modified work schedule and flexible leave policies. It means that we are doing some we modified the work schedule and also some flexible leave policies. Changing a regular work schedule or establishing a flexible leave policy may be reasonable accommodation unless it would cause an undue hardship. Undue hardship masuk kesukaran lah bagi pihak dia. So, we changing the schedule. Modified work schedule may include flexibility in work hours on the work week or part-time work. People who disability may need modified work schedule include individual who are the category of person we can categorize as the disability, who require special treatment for their disability. For example, people with cancer, people with HIV, AIDS, or mental illness. We cannot fire this kind of people because we are having a contract with them. We hire them in a good condition. We cannot dismiss them because of disability. So what the company can do is we reallocate them with the workplace accommodation. For those having an illness, for example, mental illness, probably they're having to go to psychiatry every month. They have to take a medicine. They are under medication. And also some people with HIV positive or AIDS, and probably the cancer person. So we might probably modify their work schedule. Okay, we change the work schedule. Probably they have leave on Wednesday because the Wednesday they go to hospital. Okay, who is the person who with disability? So it might probably a person who need rest period, including some people who have multiple sclerosis, cancer, diabetes, respiratory condition, or mental illness, which this particular person needs rest. Alright, some more. Next page. whose disability, such as diabetic, are affected by eating or sleeping schedule. Alright, why they need flexible leave? Because they need of medical treatment, they need a repair or prosthesis of equipment, they need temporary adverse condition in the work environment. So this is the person who are qualified with restructuring the work schedule. Number 3, what we can do to them is modification or purchase of equipment and devices. Purchase of equipment or might probably change the existing equipment may be effective accommodation for people with many types of disability. There are many devices that make it possible for people to overcome barriers to performing function of a job. These devices may range from very simple solution such as an elastic band can enable a person with cerebral palsy to hold a pencil and write, to high-tech electronic equipment that can be operated by head or mouth movement by people who cannot use their hand. So the list in page 95 is the types of equipment and also devices that may be appropriate. Some of them are teletypewriters, telephone amplifiers for people with hearing impairments, special software for standard computers and other equipment to enlarge, print or convert document to spoken word for people with vision and reading disability, tactile marking or equipment in braille, telephone headset, talking calculator, raised or adjustable height desk, modified equipment control and so on. Alright, this among the example of the types and equipment device that may appropriate. Alright, next page. What more? Okay, training. Reasonable accommodation should be provided when needed to give employees with disability equal opportunity to benefit from training to perform their job effectively and to advance in employment. We give training for them. So needed accommodation may include providing accessible training site, training material in alternate format, sign language interpreter or captioning. We are training disability people. Kita nak train orang yang kurang upaya ni bagaimana medium, bagaimanakah kaedah dia. Sebagai contoh, we do some large print. We might probably using braille, auto tape or electronic format to help them to make sure the material is, they understand the material that they were using. Okay, next is we might probably do some modification of policy. Modification of policy may include change of workplace policy that prohibits something an employee with disability needs to do their job. Example, we allowing a person with a disability to be accompanied by a service animal, allowing food at their workstation, and allowing personal time at the desk of a person with psychiatric disability. Kalau sebelum ni kita tak boleh buat pun benda tu dekat syarikat kita. For example, kita tak boleh makan di meja kerja kita, kita tak boleh bawa binatang masuk ke tempat kerja kita. Tapi when it comes with person with disability, we have to modification our policy so that the people with disability are feel comfortable on it. Alright, there are a few things that we can modify. For example, modification of physical site, building and facilities, and also provision of readers, communication access providers or personal assistant. Okay, H, we do some reassignment to a vacant position and light duty. If an employee develop his or her disability after being on the job, Okay, employees develop his or after being on the job and can no longer perform the essential function of the job, the employer may need to reassign the employee to a vacant position within the agency or within district government if doing so does not constitute an undue hardship. Alright, we hire some person and the person get disability throughout the working with us. So we might probably transfer that particular person to any vacant position in other company or in another government agency. Alright. Reassignment does not require the employee to compete for a new position. That particular person do not need to compete, but we ask them to transfer to the vacant position. Alright. Okay, now we move on to the core. The core of the subject is accommodating Islam in the workplace. Okay, in Islam, living and working sometimes lead to misunderstanding when it needs to deal with beliefs and practices. An employer should be critically assess the needs of Muslim that relates to the workplace. We always heard that a person cannot practice their belief and practices during their working time. Some company do not allow a woman to wear a hijab, and some company do not allow the workers to perform the solah, which is totally wrong when we're talking about placing Islam in the workplace. Okay. Islam has exclusive religious practices that could impact the employees, the workplace, with some custom may be easily accommodated and some might not and seldom cause an undue hardship. The employer should reasonably accommodate the employee's requests if their absentee create an undue hardship when accommodating the religious request. For example, kita sekarang ni memang hari Jumaat 12.30, 2.30 memang tak boleh kacau, kedai semua kena tutup because we respecting Muslim to perform the Jumaah solat, Jumaah prayers. Alright, the recruitment process from Islamic perspective, recruitment is the process of generating a pool of capable people to apply for employment to an organization. Is it necessary to match up future employee requirement with a supply of labor? The need for recruitment is determined by forecasting the number of employees needed in the future and making allowance for labor turnover rate during the period, as well as the impact of transfer, promotion, and also planned redundancy. Okay. Okay, kalau you tengok page 103, ada Allah menyentuh tentang konsep fairly and justice. Maknanya adil dan saksama. Sebagaimana yang telah maktub dalam Al-Quran, indeed Allah commands you to render trust to whom they are due, and when you judge between people, judge them with justice. Excellent is what Allah instruct you. Indeed, Allah is ever hearing and seeing. Seeing, Allah maha mendengar lagi maha melihat. Kalau kita mengadili manusia, kita kena mengadili secara adil. Jadi the recruitment process that have been practiced by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, whoever believes in God and the day of judgment should not employ a worker until he or she knows what he is going to receive. Kita tak boleh nak ambil pekerja tanpa bagi tahu berapa gaji dia dapat. Tengoklah macam mana, hari ni mungkin sikit, hari esok mungkin banyak, tak boleh. Sebab ia bertentangan dengan hadis, bertentangan dengan apa yang disaran oleh Rasulullah. Seorang pekerja tu tahu apa yang dia akan dapat. Kita banyak juga dengar kan, majikan tak bagi tahu, tengoklah macam mana prestasi you baru kita bayar. Tak boleh, itu haram. Ya. This shows that Rasulullah really concerned about principle of tabligh in offering wages in the process of recruiting a worker. Be a justice, Siddiq and tabligh is ordered to recruit a worker. Tabligh mean the employer must explain very well in advertisement about job vacancies, including the job description, wages and salary, and also the benefit that the worker will get if they have been selected to be an employee. Alright, that one is what been teach by Islam. Okay, next. Okay, that's all. Okay, what you have to do after you listen, after you are looking, after you are seeing this video, what you have to do is you have to comment below about what you understand by topic 7 is about accommodating employees in the workplace. Alright. Okay, that's all for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.